Hey, and welcome back to another episode of Let's Struggle with Rob. A while back, we did Over the Wires Bandit series. Today, we're going to take a shot at the next level in the series, Natas, or Natas. I'm not sure how you pronounce it. We're going to be using just a base install of Arch Linux here. The only things I've installed on it is Sublime Text and a copy of Burp Suite, which we're going to try not to use for this, at least for the first 10. We're going to do the first 10 today. We're going to see if we can complete all this using only the browser. So we're going to start out going to overthewire.org, War Games. We're going to go to the Natas. Teaches the basics of server-side web security. Each level has its own website following this format. There's no SSH. Just like the Bandit, each level gets you the password for the next level. It does say all passwords are also stored in Etsy natas _webpass/. As usual, they give us the first one for free. So let's go ahead and jump in and see if we can get through the first 10. So natas 0, natas 0, sign in. You can find the password for the next level on this page. Well, that's most likely means it's going to be in the source code. Yeah, and it's right there. Obviously, most websites you go to aren't going to save the password in the source code. This is mostly just a slow way of teaching you to always check the source code for hints or solutions, potential inroads. Okay, so now that we have that, let's go to the next level. Natas 1 and the password we just got. Now, you can find the password on the page, but right-clicking has been blocked. That's not a problem. If you hit Control-U, it does the same thing. Yep, and there we go. There's our password for the second level. Save that off. Okay, let's go to level 2. There is nothing on this page. We'll view the source code. It says there's nothing on the page, but then it shows an image source. And it's in a directory called Files. So if we were to go to that site, if there's anything there, it's just a single pixel. So let's back up and see if their directory browsing is enabled. And it is. So now we have a file called users, and there's our next level password. Okay, let's try level 3. This pretty much looks just like what we just did. Okay, this time we've got a little bit of a hint where it says not even Google will find it this time. That usually refers to the fact that if you don't want Google to spider your site and put it in their search results, you can add a file at the root of your site called robots.txt and tell it all the pages and directories you don't want it to browse. And here we can see it has a directory called secret. So let's go ahead and browse that. And once again, we have a users txt, and there's our next password. Okay, let's move on to level 4. Access disallowed. You are visiting from nowhere, while authorized users should only come from the Natas 5 site. Okay, well, we can let's copy that. Now if we press F12 to open our developer tools, let's go to network. Let's refresh the page. Okay, here's our get. Let's go to the request. No, headers. Alright, let's edit. Right click on get here, do edit and resend. There's what we're looking for. We're going to add a referrer and put in that web page. This basically says we're coming from that web page. So let's send that, and then we'll click on our response tab over here. Yep, and there we go. There's our next password. Press F12 again to make that go away. Okay, let's move on to level 5. Access disallowed. You are not logged in. Okay, I'm guessing that's going to be a cookie setting, and we can do the same thing with our pressing F12. Let's look at our storage tab, our cookies. Yeah, and there we see we have a cookie named logged in. Let's just change that to a 1. And then refresh our page. And there we go. That was quick and easy. Okay, let's try the next level. We're halfway through. This is going fairly easy. No struggles yet. Input secret. Alright, let's throw a secret in there. Wrong secret. Okay, let's look at the source code. We can pretty much always ignore all this stuff. It has nothing to do with the level. So what we see is our input form and it's just going to go up into this. Oh. So we have an include in here. So if secret equals, yeah. So let's go ahead and check out the include file and see what that gives us. Okay, that gives us a secret. So let's input that and see if that works. And it does. Excellent. Okay, let's jump to level 7. Home, about, okay. It says the password. You know what? Etsy, there's a little hint of where the password is. As we can see, each of these links is just doing page equals and then the name of the page. So let's just change the name of the page to that path. And there we go. So there's our password for level 8. Okay, so far it's been going relatively quick. Let's jump to page 8. And familiar page, input secret, wrong secret. Let's look at the source code. Okay, so we have a secret here. I don't think that's, no, that's not the secret. So what we see is this is our encoded secret. Okay, here's a function that encodes it. So it's taking the secret, turning it into base 64, then reversing it, and then converting it to hex. So we just need to do all that backwards. So we're going to use CyberChef for that. CyberChef's a GitHub page, and it does a lot of these conversions for you, so you don't have to do it in like Python or other methods. So this is our encoded secret. So the first thing we need to do is convert it while it's hexed. So we need to convert it back. So let's look for from hex. And we can just drag this over and drop it. And it gives us that answer. And then next we need to reverse that answer. So we can look for, I think it's under utilities. Yes, look for reverse, and if we drag that, now you see our answers backwards. So we've reversed text, we've reversed the reverse, and now we need to base 64 decode instead of encode. From base 64, if we drag that, then we get this for an answer. All right, we can go back to our page and put that in. Submit. There we go. Level 9. All right, we're almost done with the first 10. They are getting slightly harder, but I think we're going to make it through the first 10 without too much struggle. Find words containing, I don't know, Natas. Has sonatas. Okay. Okay. Let's take a look at the source code. Okay. So we're inputting I guess it's calling the key needle, or maybe that's just default, I don't know. So what it's doing then is okay, if the key is not blank, it will do grep I, our keyword, against dictionary.txt. So if it's doing a grep and it's regex, we should be able to do like a period, and that's everything. Let's see. Well, technically it's not everything. It's a wild card for the first letter. So yeah, this. Oops. Let's see if it's up in the ends. Okay, so I think we get the entire dictionary, but we're not getting our password file because it's trying to search the web directory. But what if we use a semicolon and then tell it to just list everything in the directory? Okay. So that does work. So if we do semicolon and tell it to cat, is it Etsy? Is it WebPass, I think. And we're on level 9, so we're looking for the password for level 10. Search. Yep, and there's our password. Okay, that works. Okay, let's move on to level 10 then. That's going to be our last one. For this video. Okay, for security reasons, we now filter on certain characters. Well, let's try it again. Well, let's. Okay, so we can't use a semicolon. How about the ampersand? Okay, that also doesn't work. So we've got our same code as before, but now it's doing a search for our ampersand and symbols. But it's just doing the request for that and then searching the dictionary. So if we go back and do our thing before where we used just a period and it gave us the entire, but if we do a period, a space, and then try that web path. Nope, that was Natas _ web pass. Yeah. So in this case, it's going to take the period and it's going to say that's valid because it's going to take the place of any one character. But then we're going to add this second part here where we've got the path to the file. So it's going to insert that into its grep before it greps the dictionary. So that should, okay, yeah. So here's the first path we gave it, and it grepped that and gave us the next password, and then you can see then it did the same search through the dictionary and gave us everything. So that would be our password for 11. And let's just make sure that that actually works. So it's 11. Get rid of all that. Okay, and that does work. So this is where we're going to end off. We'll come back in the next video and proceed further as they get a little bit harder. That also gives me a little bit of time to refresh myself on XOR encryption, which I believe is going to come into play with this one. Oh boy, yeah. It looks like we're going to have to craft a cookie using XOR encryption, base 64, etc. So stay tuned for that on the next video. And for now, this is the first 10 levels of Natas from Over the Wire. And thanks for struggling with Rob.